Councilman Carlson.
Yes, Vic, I appreciate the cheat sheet there, but I have your presentation up here, so I'm going to go through page by page if I could, just to give you specific feedback because it's so complicated. In general, I want to say I'm very committed to making sure that we have sidewalks and that we commit ourselves to having sidewalks. I think it's very dangerous not to have sidewalks. One of the comments that we get is that people are speeding through neighborhoods, cutting through, either Waze is sending them through or they're trying to cut to cut McDill or Bayshore or whatever, and they're speeding through, and kids and families are at risk, and we need to figure out how to deal with that. So number one was they require sidewalk construction within 2 miles of a school. I've heard reports, I don't know firsthand, but I've heard reports where they're not allowed to have crosswalks because there's not a sidewalk, that some of the homeowners said, well, I don't want a sidewalk because then, quote unquote, those people will walk in front of my house. And I don't think we should give them a choice. I asked Gina this the other day, and she said, it's our right of way, we can build a sidewalk where we want. I don't think that because somebody doesn't want certain people walking in front of their house that we should require kids and families to not have crosswalks to safely cross roads right next to schools, and that they should have to walk in the middle of the street. And so whatever we need to do to strengthen that, I would be very in favor. We have another conversation specifically coming up about that too. Remove the exemptions for sidewalks where contiguous sidewalks do not exist. I think we absolutely should remove them. In my own neighborhood, which is pretty nice street, my kids and I, when there were disjointed segments of sidewalks, but the cars and the trucks go through there so quickly that if I get a chance to walk on a sidewalk, I'm going to take it every single time because it's too dangerous to walk in the middle of the road. And so even if we're walking on a sidewalk just in front of two houses, those two houses' sidewalks might save somebody's life or save somebody from getting hit because there's way too much traffic. I think we absolutely should require sidewalks, even if it's not contiguous. You talked about making sure they're aligned correctly, so maybe there's some planning process there, but we absolutely should require them. Remove exemptions for sidewalks, same thing. You talked about staff providing an alternative where developers could offer to pay for sidewalks equal length in a school priority zone. I think that's a good idea, but I'd rather first make sure that we have sidewalks, even if they're the first one on the street. Like Councilmember Dingfelder said, these neighborhoods over time will develop sidewalks. And we need to tell folks with neighborhoods and people in communities want sidewalks, and so we need to start somewhere and build them. Then you go to double the in lieu fee. If it's $75, you said earlier that doesn't include the management fee and whatever. That means the real cost is probably $100 or $150, and so we should charge more than $75. We should charge the actual cost, which is probably $100 or $125. We should not let anybody pay an in lieu fee that's not going to cover the actual cost of us building a sidewalk somewhere else. Remove exemption for proximity to grand or protected oaks. My street's full of grand oaks, and I would never propose tearing them down. I don't know what the solution is there, so I don't really have an opinion. I wish we could find a way to get around them, something. I don't know what to do, but we have to be ADA accessible, and we can't endanger trees. And also, as trees grow and their branches grow, they rip up the sidewalks, which causes more damage. So I don't know what the solution is, but it'd be great if you all could figure that out. Remove the exemption where there are stormwater ditches. I would like the requirement to say that that whoever builds on those streets would have to pay whatever the city would pay to redo that stormwater drain, so that there could be a sidewalk on top. You and I have met in neighborhoods before where there is a stormwater and we need to put a sidewalk on top. Councilmember Maniscalco talked about that in West Tampa. They're really dangerous, and somewhere we have to start with it. If the city can't afford to pay it, somehow we've got to fix these problems. That exemptions must go to approval to a city council public hearing. We have too much on our agenda right now, but if we need to set a higher threshold, if it's not city council, is there a hearing master or something? There needs to be some higher threshold. Cost may be part of it, maybe some other process to make it more difficult to opt out. It sounds like from Ms. Feely's numbers that it's not that big of a problem of the people opting out, but we need to make sure that we mandate sidewalks. Transparency, absolutely. There's not been enough transparency. There were rumors that this fund was raided years ago for other things. I don't know if that happened or not, but but the public wants to know, and this is all sides, the sidewalk advocates and the people, the developers who are paying, they want to know that the funds are going where they're supposed to go. So I appreciate your commitment to that. And I will be quiet. Thank you.